I know it's the third Sunday of Advent, but as bright as it is in here, it could be Transfiguration Sunday. You all are glowing. But that's still to come. John the Baptist is an odd dude. Earlier in Matthew's Gospel, when we first met John, he came from the rough and tumble of wilderness places, telling people they were doing all the things wrong and they needed to change all of their ways. John lacked all of the signs of respectability. He wore camel's hair clothing, not the fine robes of the important people. His scraggly beard must have had honey-dipped locust legs stuck in there from the ways that he ate. John evades all sense of decorum. John, if we could put it in a little more modern terms, is that guy at the party that you aren't sure who invited him. He's the one who talks too loud, says things that make everybody uncomfortable. He doesn't smell right, he doesn't look right, and he doesn't sound quite right. Have you ever been to that party with that person around? Have you ever been the host of that party where that guy shows up? You ever? You have to admit, though, as uncomfortable as one might be, John certainly keeps things interesting. John, as odd as he is also our guide through this Advent season. Which reminds me, speaking of Advent, I have not preached for a few weeks, and so I have not had the chance yet to offer you my annual Advent rant. Until now, that is. So here it goes. I've been waiting for this. It is not Christmas yet. At least not if the church has anything to say about how we order our sense of time. We are indeed in the season of Advent, a season that teaches us that the best things in life are worth preparing for, and they require preparation. It's a time of anticipation that not only prepares us to receive the good news, but as we have prepared, it makes it even sweeter. And with a news as good and, quite frankly, as unexpected as ours, it's important that we are prepared to receive it. But there are other narratives that abound, that the church doesn't get to dictate for us what time it is. You probably heard that Christmas started on Black Friday, or maybe earlier if some of the stores get to dictate things for us. In our consumeristic culture, we're told in subtle and not so subtle ways to crank up the dial on our consumption meter to 11. And bye, it's Christmas. And we're faced with pressure to make Christmas just perfect, with all the trappings of sentimentality and the nostalgia of years gone by. But I say bah humbug to all of that. Or better yet, can we still make room for Advent to do its work on us? Can we still take the time to listen to John, even though he sounds a bit like a bull in the china shop, or more like the roar of a wrecking crew clearing out whatever is in the way? If we keep listening and keep watching, we see that he's only demolishing what needs to be removed. So he can clear a way, so he can create a clear path that leads us in the direction of a better way. Indeed, John is our Advent guide. He shows us the way of waiting and anticipation, of discerning and being formed in hope. Glad I got that out of my system. My rant is done. It's Advent. But John is not only the one who goes ahead and creates the way for us to receive the good news of Jesus, he's also one who surprisingly walks with us along the way there. By the time of our gospel lesson that we've heard today, Jesus had been going about his ministry, healing, teaching the people. And John, who is now in prison because he angered people with too much power, wasn't quite sure anymore if Jesus was the one that he was supposed to prepare the way for. Maybe it was the uncertainty brought on as he spent more and more time behind bars. Or maybe it was that Jesus kept sharing table fellowship with tax collectors, and when he healed people, he kept touching unclean people to make them well. Maybe it was that John, like many others, was confused that Jesus had gotten this far into his public ministry and he had yet to amass a military force to take back the power. When was he going to get started? In any case, John wasn't quite sure by this moment if Jesus was the Messiah. So he sent messengers to find Jesus and to ask him that pointed question. As odd as it sounds, that John, the great prophet, the one who prepared the way, wasn't even sure of Jesus, I find something oddly satisfying when we realize that this Advent season, this time of preparation, that there's still room for doubt and space to ask some big questions. Maybe you are here and have some of those of your own. As I see it, for anyone who's going to try to hold on to a hope as good and as expansive as the one that connects us together, you're probably going to have moments of butting up against some doubt. Whether it's fatigue or the challenges of life, boredom, despair, or whatever it is, we're all likely to come to a moment where we wonder if, like John, our hope is rightly placed. Indeed, as John was there too, he is a gift who leads us to the way, and for those who walk the path that he cleared, we're ready in the midst of the doubts, in the midst of the waiting, in the midst of all of it. We're ready to receive the signs of our hope. But as much as John might clear the way, John can't provide the signs of our hope. No, John is only there to point us in the right direction. After John sent his messengers to inquire of Jesus, as they arrived, they asked Jesus quite pointedly if he was the one or if they should keep looking for someone else, or if he truly was the Messiah that they had awaited. And Jesus could have given a robust theological answer to the question. Instead, he just said, "Look and see what's been done." People who couldn't see were made able to see. Those who couldn't walk were given the power to walk again. Those who had been called unclean because of skin diseases were healed and called clean again. Those who couldn't hear were made to hear. Those who had been dead had been raised to life. And there was good news spoken to poor people. It's quite a ministry, isn't it? And a sign of a better world. Now, in the start of 2026, we're going to spend 4 weeks, I think, looking at Jesus' healing ministry. But I want to consider right now, for just a couple of moments, what healing made possible. When Jesus healed people, it affirmed human dignity. It offered people the ability to do the meaningful work that we want to do when we're able. It was the removal of shame from those who had been called unclean and told they needed to stay away. It was the drawing of people back into the religious life of the community by calling those who had been unclean now welcomed back in. It was literally life. And it was good news to poor people. And quite frankly, poor people typically don't get to be on the receiving end of good news. And all of it was proof of the answer to John's question, are you the Messiah? Are you the one who can usher in God's dreams for the world? Or do we need to keep waiting? John was always preparing us for the Messiah who would turn the world upside down, restoring human worth and renewing the bonds of human community. And Advent, it's not Christmas, right? It's Advent, is the time in which we are reminded and challenged again to seek the one who brings good news. News that, albeit is strange and unexpected and not like what you find on the 24-hour news cycles. And even as John needed to be assured that he was on the right path, when our news is that good and unexpected, it's going to take some time to prepare to receive it. We need some space to make sure that we are on the right path too. 2,000 years later, we still need to be prepared, to have the paths of our hearts cleared so that we can receive the one who still brings good news to the poor, the forgotten, and the neglected people of this world. As Jesus said it, blessed is anyone who takes no offense at me. I know we're deep into Advent, but it feels like we've hardly been able to join as cold as it's been. But let us take the time we need in these quiet days of Advent, through all the hustle and the busyness of the time in which we are. Let's slow down a little bit. Let's take the time that we need to prepare our hearts again, because I certainly wouldn't want to miss the path that John laid out for us. And I certainly want to receive the good news in my heart again. May it be so. Amen.